going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your Prime Minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
Standing on a campaign stage, he wasn't responding to a reporter's question. He wasn't trying to trend on social media. He was delivering routine remarks when he added a single sentence that landed like an earthquake in Washington. Not because it was aggressive, not because it was dramatic, but because it rejected an idea America has relied on for generations. For weeks, tensions had been building. Donald Trump returned to office with the same message he has always used with allies. Gratitude is expected, loyalty is assumed, independence is tolerated, not encouraged. Canada, like others, was expected to accept that framing quietly. Then came Davos. Standing before global leaders, Trump repeated a familiar line: "Canada survives because of America." The message wasn't aimed at Canadians, it was aimed at the world. It was a signal that power still flows in one direction and that allies exist under American permission. In the past, Canadian leaders would soften the response. They would talk about friendship, shared values, and partnership. They would avoid the core claim and move the conversation elsewhere. This time, that didn't happen. 12 hours later in Ottawa, Mark Carney responded, not with a speech written by consultants. Not with a long explanation, just one sentence that calmly pushed back against the entire idea. Canada does not depend on permission to exist. That was it. No applause line, no raised voice, no threats, but inside Washington, it landed hard. Because this wasn't about trade, it wasn't about defense spending, it wasn't even about Trump personally. It challenged the old belief that Canada's choices are limited, that Canada's options always end at the US border, and that Canada ultimately has no alternative but to accept American pressure. And that belief has shaped 80 years of negotiations. Every trade deal, every security discussion, every moment of tension. The assumption was always the same. Canada needs the United States more than the United States needs Canada. Carney didn't argue against that directly. He did something more dangerous. He ignored it. Behind that single sentence was a strategy that Washington had been underestimating for months. Canada has been quietly building space, expanding trade routes, strengthening ties in Asia and the Middle East, investing in energy independence and supply chains that don't rely on a single partner. Not as a threat, not as revenge, as insurance. When American officials dismissed Carney's words as political noise, they missed the warning sign. Dismissal only works when the other side believes it has no choice. Canada no longer believes that. In the days that followed, markets didn't panic, diplomats didn't rush to calm things down. Instead, something more important happened. Other countries took note. European officials privately welcomed the tone. Asian partners saw alignment with their own concerns about over-reliance on Washington. Middle powers recognized something familiar, the moment when a close ally stops acting like a junior partner. This wasn't a breakup. This wasn't hostility. This was a reset. Back home, critics argued Carney was risking jobs and trade. They said the US relationship is too important to challenge. And they're right about one thing. The relationship is important. That's exactly why the old imbalance had to be addressed. Because partnership only works when both sides believe they have dignity. For years, American leverage depended on one quiet weapon, the belief that allies would eventually fold. That belief just cracked. Canada didn't walk away. Canada didn't escalate. Canada simply stopped accepting the old framing. And that's what made it powerful. History shows that real shifts don't always start with wars or sanctions. Sometimes they start with language. With one sentence that changes expectations. Washington expected reassurance. It received independence. Trump tested whether Canada would accept the old terms. The answer came back calmly, clearly, and without apology. Canada will work with America, but it will not live under it. That message didn't end a relationship. It ended an assumption. And once an assumption dies, it never comes back the same way. What happens next depends on whether Washington adapts or doubles down. But one thing is now clear. Canada has entered a new phase of its foreign policy. Not anti-American, not confrontational, just confident. And tonight, that confidence is being watched far beyond North America. And the reason Washington is paying attention now is simple. This time, Canada didn't react emotionally. It reacted strategically. No angry press conferences, no dramatic threats, just a quiet signal that Ottawa is no longer organizing its future around American moods. That kind of shift makes policymakers nervous, because it's harder to pressure someone who isn't afraid to walk another path. Canada showed the world that it has them.